Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are here in Napa Valley, California for the first drive of the vehicle right here next to me. What the heck is it? This is your redesigned 2025 Infiniti QX80. This is the top dog trim known as the Autograph. But before we get into this large and in charge luxury SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. So like I said, 10 years in the making for this vehicle, because that's the last time that we saw anything fresh with the QX80. And it's fascinating because the industry has sort of moved on. You see a lot of large SUVs coming from the American brands, but also when you look at the German Euro brands as well. What Infiniti decided to do is take some of the stuff that works and add some new sauce to the secret recipe to bring it to where they think it needs to be to compete with the best of the best. Now, one way they're going to do that, besides the redesign, are 4 distinct trims. Of course, your entryway will be pure. Then you have Luxe, then you have Sensory, then you have Autograph. Those are the 4 different trim options. Of course, for this first drive, we have the Autograph. Now, besides that, a lot of new technology and an all-new power plant underneath the hood. So what I want to find out is, Infiniti says that they've done what they need to do to their special sauce, their recipe, to compete with the best of the best. Let's compare it to the OG. Who's that? That's the Lincoln Navigator. So we're going to see, should you buy this Infiniti QX80 Autograph, or should you go with the Lincoln Navigator Black Label? Let's dive into our Infiniti and find out. Right off the bat, the sheer size. This is a full-size SUV, and you'll notice it retains that boxy appearance, but with some new touches. At the front of the business, of course, you're gonna find LED lighting. So you're gonna have LED daytime running lamps, turn signals, and your LED headlights in that lower quad area. And then working our way down, we have this massive corner air curtain, and it's so big, to give you an idea, take a slice of avocado toast and you could just slide it right through there, easy peasy. The rest of it is all body color, and there's a little bit of dark gray on the bottom, but no flat black anywhere. Now, as we come across that Infiniti grille, just like Lincoln has a signature grille, Infiniti has a signature grille, and this is their new interpretation. You have the gloss black piano keys. Right above that is some dark chrome. Love how they updated the Infiniti badge with daytime running lamp LED lighting built into it, forward-facing camera. And then on the bottom portion, you're gonna have these open grill areas to bring cool air for the intercooler that resides behind it. Because remember, we have a twin turbocharged intercooled engine that's all new for 2025. On the lip, you got your body color, and then you have that dark gunmetal metallic gray finish. Nice modern interpretation of that Infiniti design. Now, as we rise up, the big signature thing to look for in an Infiniti is that little crest right here in the middle, rises up, and then it evaporates as you go towards the windshield. For me, looking at the front of this compared to the Lincoln Navigator, it makes the Lincoln Navigator look outdated, makes it look too fuddy-duddy. This looks way more modern. Let me know how you feel about the front end in the comment section compared to a Lincoln. Now, as we come around the bend, if we have a big SUV, we have some massive wheels, 22-inch wheels in diameter. Love the machined aluminum, dark machined aluminum, gunmetal, metallic gray accents. Tire is gonna be 275 on the width, 50 series sidewall. Ours has Infiniti's 4-wheel drive system. Standard is rear-wheel drive. So this chassis is rear-wheel drive base, just like the Lincoln Navigator. We have new adaptive air ride suspension, raises and lowers, and no flat black what to speak of around the fender openings. Another signature piece of design is going to be your fender vent. Functional, just like the previous gen, the dark chrome, the gloss black. We got power folding mirrors. It's in the folded position. Your LED lighting, 360-degree cameras, flush mounted door handles. That to me is a nice feature, not only aesthetically, but also for wind resistance, the airflow coming down the side of the vehicle. Now this has a stationary running board like the previous gen. What you'll notice is that it kind of flares out as you come towards the rear of the vehicle. Let me know if you like the stationary running board better on the QX80, or if you prefer what Lincoln does with their automatic raising and lowering running board. Let me know in the comment section. Up top, you got that flat boxy roof, that flat roof with the metallic silver roof rails. Of course, you could get crossbars. We have our two-tone paint scheme with a little bit of dark gray trim that almost goes around the whole vehicle. And then as we come towards the rear, to know what trim it is, it tells you on both sides, autograph trim. Love the way they designed the quarter window that's all glass. Gives it almost like a appearance of it just being solid piece of glass down the whole vehicle. When we get to the rear, they carve out this back portion really nicely seductive in the way that it just slides right off the edge. Full LED lighting. And like I said, the way that they made the Lincoln Navigator look fuddy-duddy at the front, they did the same thing at the back. And the way that they did that is not just with the lighting and the carving of the bodywork, but also nice roof spoiler. And then, of course, when it comes to Raiti's Ride's favorites, no exposed wiper. The Infiniti name spelled out. Infiniti ends with an I, not a Y. Dark chrome. We got our QX80 badge, four-wheel drive. And then as we go down to ground level, you'll notice that there's no exposed exhaust. They did a great job with some decorating of the lower bumper without it making it look like fake exhaust. And remember, you can tow with this QX80 at the end of the day. But why don't we find out about the numbers? Let's pop the hood so that we can compare the new V6 twin turbo to the Navigator's EcoBoost. All right, guys, we got that massive hood popped. You do have hood struts underneath the hood. Good looking engine cover, and it tells you the surprise. We have that V6 twin turbocharged engine, and it's very similar to the EcoBoost in the Lincoln Navigator. How similar? Guess what? Same displacement. 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 pumping out 450 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque. That's 50 more horsepower than the previous gen of the QX80 and 103 pound-feet of torque more than the previous gen. We have a 9-speed automatic transmission. Like I said, rear-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and then you have your trims, Pure, Luxe, Sensory, and Autograph. 0 to 60 in about 5.9 seconds. The vehicle weighs 5,600 pounds. You could tow up to 8,500 pounds. And MPGs, you're looking around 17 in the city. So very similar to what the Navigator brings horsepower-wise, torque-wise, and everything else. And obviously, you gotta ask, did they do it on purpose? I'm gonna probably say, yeah. Why reinvent the wheel? Go after the people that are at the head of the class. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire this thing up and see it move. All right, guys, we are inside this 2025 Infiniti QX80 autograph trim. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, how much is this thing? Because it's got to be pricey. Well, let me put it to you this way. Entry level, which is Pure, that's your entry level trim, starts at a little over $80,000. If you want to go for the top dog, like my dad used to say, if you want to play, you got to pay. MSRP is $110,000. Let's see if they bring enough for the money and to dominate the Lincoln Navigator. To the door panels, all new style. I love the two-tone, the soft, high-end luxury leather, perforations, contrast stitching that's wood trim with laser etching in it. You'll see we have the 24 speaker clips sound system, nice aluminum speaker grille covers, and we have 2 memory seat settings. My zonk is the gloss black that's around the switch gear there for the windows and the door locks. A little too much gloss black. Two-tone though is spot on the money. Door pocket, good enough size for a small personal pan pizza. And then, of course, a nice large bottle of kombucha to wash it down. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, the leather, you can see the Infiniti name, how it illuminates behind the gloss black. This illumination done in the trim, the two-tone style. Come on in. What do we have? Infotainment system. Two 14-inch screens. You'll see all new Google Assistant, Google Maps, the whole 9 yards. Great resolution. You could actually see how they're going to lay their crops down for the different types of wine, the different types of grape. Remember, soil is one of the most important things when growing grapes for wine. I'm going to go ahead and throw it into reverse so you can see the backup camera. Look how nice and large that is. Super clear resolution. It's got the trajectory. You can go on the touchscreen. Look at that. Make that nice and large so you could really see what's behind you. If your kids leave their bicycles laying behind the car, their skateboards and all that, so you don't run them over. And then you're right back where you started. Now, to get the home screen, that's actually real simple. You just hit home. And then you're going to have your ability to scroll through all these different windows. Check this out. We have full, not only heated and ventilated seats, but full luxury massage settings. You could adjust the speed, the intensity. If you notice, very quick reaction on the infotainment system. How about dash cam? All these different apps. You could actually have your built-in dash cam out the front, out the back, and you could take a photo. So if you see something really weird, like somebody coming up behind us, you could take a picture very, very easily of them and then put it on the interwebs. Of course, if we keep swiping, you have Amazon Alexa. You could program in all your garage controls, and then working your way down, you have your easy access points. So you don't have to slide your finger to go through those different things. You could just go to your access points. But you see how they etch this in the trim? Really nicely done. You have a real volume knob. There's your start-stop button, that dark cherry finish. This is a 9-inch touchscreen for your full AC controls. Dual climate, of course. You have your 3 stages of ventilated seats, 3 stages of heated seats. Of course, you got heated steering wheel. The one thing that's going to be interesting to see what you think are the controls for the transmission. Push button controls for the transmission. All blended in to the gloss black trim. You could raise and lower automatically by pressing the button, and you could access your cameras all by the press of a button. Now down below, you'll notice that this is a nice soft area to put your Louis Vuitton purse, Louis Vuitton wallet. Maybe you have, a merce that you're gonna put down there. Nicely done. And then you'll see the leather, the stitching. Open this up. We got our 2 cup holders. New Infiniti key fob. It's got the Infiniti name twice on there. Remote start. Close that up. Open this guy. Look at this. Wireless charging, and you could put an iPhone 47 Platinum Edition in there. 2 USB-Cs. The two-tone leather. Open this up. We got a cool box. You can actually hear the coolness taking place in there. That's where you're going to want to keep your box of California Twinkies. Remember, those are the ones that are filled with the avocado cream in the center. And then the seats. Look at the premium sound system speakers, the soft leather, autograph in the actual back portion. Dang, this is super soft. Full electric assist, of course, for the passenger and the driver. The special diamond stitching that they've done. And then, of course, up top, you're going to have this ginormous power shade and panoramic glass roof that actually opens up. You could open this up as a sunroof. And we have the Velveteen Rabbit Soft headliner in here, that Alcantara material, but really, really crazy how much glass is up there. Very, very large. And then on top of that, digital rear view mirror, and there's your dash cam up there. So really cool how they blended that all in very nicely for you to have access. But why don't you come over here to the business end, because I already showed you one 14-inch screen. I got another one behind the new wheel of this all-new QX80. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 2 memory seat settings for the driver's seat, a nice aluminum sill plate with that laser etching and the Infiniti name that illuminates an LED. Remember, Infiniti spelled with an I, not a Y. Pass your spelling test. You have all your seat controls, easy to get to, especially that lower lumbar. All the piping, the stitching, it all adds up to a very comfortable experience. I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of room in here, headroom, shoulder room, all new steering wheel. The leather, the red stitching, even on the horn button, they did 2 different types of leather. They etched in on the trim some nice lines. There is a lot of gloss black though where you're going to be putting your thumbs, so just make sure you have your Infiniti microfiber cloth. I think they give you one to make sure you can clean off all those fingerprints. Now on the back of the wheel you do have paddles. They are plastic to go up and down the 9-speed automatic, but you do have an electric tilting telescoping steering wheel. And then of course you got that 14-inch digital gauge cluster, a cornucopia of information, including, I like the way they give you a visual when you go to adjust the height control of the vehicle. And then watch this, you actually could change up how the graphics are displayed. So right now we're in elegant. Let's go enhance, see what that looks like. Boom. Very simplified. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try it again, and we're going to go dynamic. Really nice. I'm going to leave it there because I like the modern look. It looks a lot like the exterior, and you have a head-up display that's big enough to be in an F-22 Raptor fighter cockpit. That's how large it is. But I want to show you visually what this thing looks like when we adjust the height. So Lori's going to drop back. You got to close the door to do it. And now we're going to raise this vehicle. Really, really cool to go up and down. So we're going to drop it. And then now we're going to go back up to show the differences between them. Really, really nice to have those different functions to it. All right, guys, mid-road time, and this Infiniti has taken it to the next level and really leaving the competition behind, like the Lincoln Navigator. First of all, before I show you anything, just so you know, they use a new infrared technology back here that keeps a measurement of the body temperature of your passengers, and it'll automatically adjust the mid-row AC controls and seat controls to heat or cool your passenger based off of what their body temp is telling the sensor. That to me is like space odyssey kind of stuff that's happening in this QX80. Now, of course, on the backs of the seats, you have the nice leather, large pocket. You can easily put, I would say, a 1-pound bag of Twizzlers. And if you're cool like Lori and I, then that means you also like black Twizzlers as well, black licorice. I love black licorice. So put a pound of that back there. In the back end of the center console, you do have a nice command center with all your AC controls, ventilated seats, heated seats just like up front, USB-Cs, and a 12-volt. And don't forget, there's a 12-volt in that little storage area where you're putting your Louis Vuitton wallet all the way up front, so that you got 2 12-volts. Then they actually hide a compartment. Let's say if your kids are going to school and you want to bring an apple for the teacher, you could actually put 2 apples back there. So if you have 2 kids and they're in elementary school, that's a good way to kiss up to the teacher. So if you're teaching your kids to be kiss-ups, that's where you could put the 2 apples, a Granny Smith, maybe a Red Delicious. If I'm the teacher, you better bring me a Pink Lady or a Crips, or I'm failing your kid. Now, where this does not fail is obviously cup holders, but watch this. You ready for this? Touch screen, turn it on, 9-inch. You have all the features, ventilated seats, heated seats, and massage seats, all in this awesome area here. How crazy is that? So mid-row, massage, heated, and ventilated. Open this up. You do have another storage space. This is good for a bag of Lay's potato chips, 2 USB-Cs, or you could put 2 cans of Pringles back here. One of the things that used to always irk me about Pringles is when you're trying to reach your hand in to get those last few chips, and then your hand gets stuck in it. I remember there was a kid in my middle school that got his arm stuck in there. The shop teacher actually had to cut it off his arm because it wasn't coming out, and he really wanted those last couple Pringles and the crumbs at the bottom. Seats, you're not going to want to get crumbs on these. Autograph. You see how it's interesting how they did the stitches here to make that diamond shape. Really nicely done. Full, of course, power controls. So you have power controls for the mid-row. This is like big money ticket stuff, like Rolls-Royce Cullinan stuff in the mid row. But let's get in the third row and see how this stacks up to the Navigator. All right, guys, back row time. This is the make it or break it row for a lot of SUVs. I love how wide the opening is with that power moving seat. I'm 6 feet tall, plenty of room back here. My knees are nice and low. I have lots of headroom. AC vents nicely placed so you're not gonna sweat like crazy in here. They even did the leather just like everybody else. And then on the passenger armrest, you have USB-C, reclining third row seats, and 2 stages of heated seats for the third row. Very nicely done, and look at how they recline. You ready for this? So you're actually getting even a little bit more room to feel even more comfortable. This is something that, guess what, the Lincoln Navigator does not do. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in the cargo area and see what we can stuff into this QX80. All right, guys, last part of the equation, cargo time. So it's real simple. Hit the button in the trim, nice electric assist. You're gonna be greeted to more cargo space than the outgoing QX80. Not as much as the Lincoln Navigator though. What I do like is you have a home power source. And then on the passenger side are the plethora of buttons. You have your air ride suspension, raise and lower, and these are gonna be for the seats, which nice one-touch operation. Love the way they do that, look at that. 60-40 split, fold down, and they fold nice and flat. That's gonna give you maximum space. You're looking over 90 cubic feet of space. And then underneath, if you do have some Twinkies, some boxes of Twinkies, look at this, you got 2 boxes of Twinkies you can fit in there, no problem. But why don't we go ahead, it's about that time. If you're ready, I think this QX80 is ready. Let's go for an on-throttle spin and see what the extra horsepower and luxury feels like. All right, guys, we are inside this 2025 Infiniti QX80 Autograph, and right away, you're gonna be blown out of your mind with what this interior is doing. I mean, the technology, 2 14.3-inch screens. Do the math. That's 28.6 inches of screen right in front of you. Now, when it comes to the rest of the screens, you have that 9-inch down below, easily accessible to get, of course, your AC controls. But why don't we go on throttle real quick? On throttle, here we go. So 450 horsepower and 0 to 60 in about 5.9 seconds. Not too shabby. Of course, there's sound that's being pumped in. Nothing too obtrusive. The Lincoln Navigator does the same thing, but gone is the V8. And I know some people are gonna be bummed out about that, but you can't argue with more horsepower and more torque. What I like is the steering has a nice lighter feel to it, and I think a lot of people are gonna enjoy that. Doesn't have a heavy feel to the steering. The overall wheel itself is a pleasure to wrap my hands around. And then just getting to everything is well within reach. You have that head-up display giving you the essentials. And then what's cool is that if there's something about it that feels very familiar, when you look out over that hood, it feels very, very familiar that you're in a QX80. And that to me is a good thing. I think that's them bringing some of that familiarity of the good things about the QX80, but then changing everything else. Of course, the sound deadening material has been increased. The chassis is more rigid. The thickness of the side glass, you got an acoustic windshield. That's gonna help you with the premium sound system, really enjoy all those watts of power to the sound system. And then you also have your autopilot version 2.2. So that's that semi-autonomous hands-free driving, which they have from Infiniti. But as you can see, the handling is very, very confidence inspiring. There's not a bunch of body roll. I'm not bouncing all over the place. It's smooth, it's controllable. And then you have under your right foot 450 horsepower. All right, guys, you know, I think the road that we have right here is really going to allow me to show the driving dynamics very nicely. With the four-wheel drive situation, you have that 2-speed transfer case, and it really keeps you planted with the four-wheel drive system. And if you're wondering, is the ride too harsh with those 22-inch wheels? Not one bit. The suspension really soaks up the bumps nicely. The way the Infiniti QX80 reacts to your steering inputs, I mean, look at this. I'm not putting a death grip on this thing, and it's just real easy to maneuver with, because remember, this is a full-size SUV. Box frame SUV. And it's nice to feel composed, confident. And if you're stepping up, say you're coming from a QX60 and you're worried that the QX80 might feel too big, it's crazy how when you're behind the wheel, it doesn't feel supersized. And I really like that. A lot that has to do with it is the hood. Seeing the tops of the fenders where the hood meets the fender, I think gives you a good visual reference point and really allows you to know where each corner of the vehicle is. Because even on this tight, twisty road, I just feel really good. You got the massage seats doing their thing. Even for the mid-row passengers, talk about spoiling them. And all the great new technology, including the Google Assistant, Amazon Alexa, digital rearview mirror, and that massive panoramic sunroof. But if you're worried that with the lack of the V8, you think you're not gonna like it as much as the previous gen, I don't think you're gonna be even thinking about that. I mean, you have less weight off the front of the vehicle, so that's gonna help with the handling, and you have 2 turbos that spool up very, very quickly. I'm gonna do another on throttle in a second here. Here's a good place, nobody behind us, as you can see in the digital rearview mirror. And if you're ready, I'm ready. Here we go. On throttle. Look at that. 9-speed drops down and we're off. That's another thing to definitely compliment, is the 9-speed automatic shifts very smooth, whether it's up shifts or down shifts. And it's just nice to see them updating everything. I mean, I don't think there was anything that was carried over in this QX80 from the previous generation. I mean, even the Infiniti badge is different compared to the previous generation. But what a joy to drive, so quiet in the cabin. And like I said, that the artificial pumped-in sound, I don't think it's going to become too annoying. It's got a decent tone to it, and it really comes on when you're full on throttle. Adjusting the screen, if you don't like dynamic, like I said, you could go into elegant. Real simple to change that. The graphics are clear, nice and large, and just really gives you a clean line of sight out the windshield. Side mirrors are a good size. You of course have lane keep assist, emergency brake assist, backup assist, blind spot monitoring. It's got it all, and you got the dash cam built in. Let's go ahead and access that. I'll show you how simple it is. So you go into your screen here. I'm gonna slide over, go to dash cam, and then what happens is that you actually have to have, of course, a memory card to record, and then you can record that while you're going down the road, which is nice. So nice to have those features there very easily while we're driving on the road. But really cool to have all that. But the Google map, I mean, it's crazy, just the graphics, how clear everything is. Really, really nicely done. But I'm hoping that this has been a good overall review of what this Infiniti QX80 is bringing for the redesign. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, been another crazy day out here in Napa Valley. Definitely got to thank the whole Infiniti USA team inviting us so that we could bring you access to the new QX80. Let me know what you think. Did they do enough to make it the better luxury SUV over a Navigator? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raise Rides family. Of course, we need to give it up to Lori Gibbons Raiti, working that camera like a champ. No matter what the terrain is, no matter what the vehicle is doing and how it's positioned, she always makes movie magic. So show her some love in the comment section. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.